They found Zara wandering the streets of Lagos at dawn, her eyes vacant and her hands trembling. By the time anyone approached her, she collapsed and died. Zara's story wasn't always this way. She grew up in a small, crowded neighborhood, the kind where children played barefoot in the streets, and neighbors were more like family. But life had not been kind to her. Her parents died when she was just 13, leaving her to fend for herself in a world that offered little help to orphaned girls. Without anyone to turn to, Zara dropped out of school and started working odd jobs. But the money was never enough. Desperation led her to the oldest profession in the world, prostitution. At first, she hated it. The shame, the judgment, the men who barely looked her in the eye. But she learned to survive. She told herself it was temporary, that one day she'd save enough to leave the streets and start over. She never imagined she would become the center of a legend. It started with one man, Jide, a mechanic whose business was failing. He came to Zara one rainy night, paying for her company with the last money in his pocket. The next morning, he returned to his workshop to find a line of customers waiting for him. Within weeks, his business was thriving. Jide never connected his sudden luck to Zara. He just thought his prayers had been answered. Then came Ade, a married banker drowning in debt. His wife had no idea they were on the brink of losing their home. Ade visited Zara in secret, seeking comfort for his burdens. The next day, he received a call about an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative. His debts vanished, and his life changed overnight. Stories like these began to spread. Men who had been with Zara found their fortunes turning around. Struggling shopkeepers, taxi drivers, even a street musician, all suddenly became wealthy after spending a night with her. At first, Zara didn't notice. She was too busy surviving to see the pattern. But the men did. They started coming back, bringing gifts, offering her more money than she had ever seen. At first, Zara was confused. Then, she was afraid. The rumors reached her ears that she was a lucky charm, that sleeping with her guaranteed wealth. Zara didn't want this kind of attention. She tried to turn men away, but the more she refused, the more persistent they became. Some begged, others demanded. A few even tried to threaten her. What none of them knew was that Zara's gift came with a price. For every man who gained wealth, something was taken from them. Jide, the mechanic, lost his brother in a sudden accident. Ade, the banker, discovered his wife's infidelity and watched his marriage crumble. The street musician who became famous fell into a deep depression and stopped performing altogether. None of them connected their tragedies to Zara, but she did. The dreams started soon after the first man, dark, haunting visions of a shadowy figure whispering, "You wanted to survive. Now they will pay the cost." Zara tried to stop. She moved to different neighborhoods, changed her appearance, even tried to leave Lagos altogether. But the men always found her. Some were desperate, others greedy. Married men seeking an escape from their dull lives, young men hoping to change their fortunes, even older men chasing lost dreams. They all had their reasons, and none of them cared about the consequences. One night, a journalist named Tund decided to investigate. He'd heard the stories and wanted to uncover the truth. He approached Zara, not as a client, but as a friend. Over the course of several meetings, she opened up to him. She told him about her parents, her struggles, and the curse she never asked for. Tund listened, his skepticism turning to sympathy. "Why don't you stop?" he asked her one night. "Do you think I haven't tried?" Zara replied, "I didn't ask for this. But every time I try to run, something pulls me back. And the men, they don't care. They only see what they can gain." Tund wrote an article about Zara, framing her story as a cautionary tale about greed and desperation. He left out the supernatural elements, focusing instead on the human cost of exploitation. The story went viral, but instead of sympathy, it brought more men to Zara's door. They didn't care about her pain. They only wanted her blessing. One night, Zara had enough. She walked through the streets of Lagos barefoot, her lips moving in silent prayer. She reached a bridge overlooking a dark river and whispered, "If this is the only way to end it, so be it." The next morning, they found her body in the water. After her death, the men who had sought her out began to experience strange misfortunes. Businesses collapsed, families fell apart, and some even lost their lives. The legend of Zara became a warning. Wealth gained without effort comes at a cost. To this day, her story is told in Lagos, a reminder of the dangers of greed and the unseen burdens carried by those society overlooks. So guys, this is where I am going to be ending this story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.